Check 1 2 1 2. Yes, welcome back to another live stream. My name is Michel Baumann. I'm the territory channel manager for Modern Work in Microsoft. And I think this is one of the sessions that people were super hype about. As you can see, I'm in my car and we'll talk about it in a second. Denzil, welcome back to the live stream.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
When you drive a few people. I don't know. It's a family cars, So I have 4 children, but I have to take Bernie somewhere real quick. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Why are you asking?
I thought we could just pull over and have a race. You want to line it up at the lights or something?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So let me get in. Oh, you know what? This is a bit too slow. We need to go faster. Let's do
this. That's not fair. No, that's not fair.
All right. Oh, you don't like this? How about this? Oh yeah, this is leather, air conditioned. It's beautiful out there. Woo, definitely want to take a dip in that. So if you like what you're seeing, we should share with people exactly how they could do this as well. But it's a bit bumpy in this one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So that's what we're going to be doing on this session. So on the first session, let me hop out the car real quick and let's do this. That's what we're going to do this session. So we're going to show you how to set up these scenes. Before we do, let's shout out a few people that are currently watching. I am Martin, who's calling in from the Netherlands. We have Christian from Germany. I see a couple of more Dutchies. We have Belgium representing. Hi, Christophe. I thought I saw one more person from Belgium. Here we go. Koen, nice to have you here. Neil from the UK. Martin is some nice music here. Oh, people like the music.
Oh, awesome!
Jason is here.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Andrew, Gavin, and others. Martin, thanks for joining. You guys are ready to rumble. Love that. I was gonna ask you, Michel. Mm-hmm. Is that Bernie in the back there again? I thought you were dropping him off.
You have to take this guy everywhere, man. He's just comfy with his mittens on and wearing the face mask and enjoying the chocolate in the back.
Oh, awesome. Before you get into it, can you tell me what was the top thing or top feature you saw at Microsoft Ignite 2-3 days ago?
I just did 4 days of live streaming, it feels like.
Share with me, what did you like the best?
What I like, a couple of things. Webinars, that's big. That's people huge. Really seem to like the PowerPoint Live. I just uploaded a video on that yesterday, so go to the YouTube channel. So PowerPoint Live, liked that a lot. And then Teams Connect, which I think doesn't get the attention it deserves, but being able to, instead of having to switch between tenants, you can now stay in your one tenant and people can share their channels. I think that's a big one that people are just not. So this is. Which one do you like the most?
This is my best.
Yeah,
I love this one. I think this one will take virtual events to a new level. For an average person who just armed with the laptop, mobile, finding space. This technology that Microsoft's releasing with the presenter mode, it's able to green screen you in 3 or I think 3 locations that you could strategically choose. And that's great because I think from the studies we had, just looking at a deck and listening to the voice, you better sound like Morgan Freeman if you want them to tune in.
Which we
So,
don't, right?
which we don't have the Morgan Freeman effect, but overlaying yourself, bringing your data, bringing your information, and I think that's killer for me. So I really
Yeah,
love
me
that. Thank
too.
you, Microsoft.
Yeah, me too. Let's get into OBS because that's the tool that we're going to be using. We're going to start all the way from the beginning. And then if there's something you would like to see, so if you're saying, hey, I want to see how you did the little thing with the cars, moving backgrounds, so let us know. We'll be more than happy to show it to you. We'll be here for the next, let's say, 40, 45 minutes. Let's make it super interactive. But Denzel, maybe you can start it off with just showing the basics of the basics.
Yes, sounds good. So hopefully you've dropped the link aka.ms/teams like a boss. So if you visit that website, maybe open up another tab, you can download a scene that I've created for everyone to enjoy and start. This beginner scene will help you get started with adding your company logo, displaying your date, time, and the city that you're representing as well. And we'll build with that and we'll go live and create a real scene that uses a car, your own camera, and a green screen effect to create the moving background.
Nice.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
So sorry, go ahead.
No. I said let's do it.
Yeah, so let me just get started with OBS. I'm going to open up a brand new instance of OBS. So this has not been created with anything. So what you're watching, and I'm going to resize this because for folks, it might be handy to see this a little bit more bigger. Is that better for the viewers, you think?
It's better. Maybe that's a trick number one that you might want to elaborate on just briefly and show people how you actually change the dimension of the screen.
Yeah. So working with an ultra-wide monitor has its downsides. When you have an ultra-wide monitor, or monitors over 1920 or what do you call it, 1080p, when you share a 4K display, people will say, can you zoom in? Can you make it bigger? And then not everyone has 4K. Exactly. So there's this tool created by, I'd like to say, the geeks at Microsoft, Power Toys. It was available in Windows 95. Fancy Zones is available in Windows 10. How that helps. You have a large monitor, you can carve it out into zones. Let me show you what it looks like when I move this OBS into different zones. So first of all, I'm going to maximize my screen. As you can see, the viewers are probably going to have to need a magnifying glass to see that. But if I snap this into a zone, it will change the resolution dynamically while we're screen sharing. And this works in Teams, live stream, or any screen sharing application. So all I'm doing here is moving this to a 1080p. So now it's resolution for resolution. And I can move it down to 720p. And how I achieved that was, if I could just bring up this here so you could see what I have done. So that is the OBS window I am sharing, right? Bring Chrome into this thing. And I'm just dragging it into a zone, and I'm dragging it into another zone, and I'm dragging it into an ultra wide zone, and that's full screen, or what we say, maximize all of that, right? And you have zones here, zones there. So this helps my productivity to quickly, share a screen, share an application, and get it to go in, the spot that you're looking for.
Okay.
So let's hop back and get started. And so this is the resolution we'll use today for everyone to see.
Before you start, by the way, and I'm sorry to interrupt,
That's okay.
we're getting some first questions in about can this session be viewed later? Yes, it can. Go to the YouTube channel. This is my channel, and feel free to like and subscribe. I hate it when people say that, but just do it. And you can check this session out later as well.
Thanks. You're motivating me to start something with YouTube. Let's see if I get that courage.
Yeah, you should.
All right. Okay, so let's try this out. Okay, so I'm in here, 720 resolution. I'm sharing this with you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this UI just to give you a better productivity flow when using OBS. I love Microsoft Teams, so I have re-interfaced this UI to look like Teams. So let me show you what it looks like if you've installed this on your desktop. So under View, I believe you have the docs, and you can reset the UI. So I've just resetted the UI. This is what it looks like internationally and default when you get the software. And just like Windows, you can position stuff. You can position things in here. So if you got good muscles using Microsoft Teams, you will love the cascading approach that it uses. You got a tile to click an app, it opens up the content. You click there, it opens up the content window right beside it. So what I did is, I like to move my scenes to the left, my sources right next to it, and it's a tricky way you hold this thing, but if you fight it with it enough, you should be able to. I remember, Michelle, you and me spending a good 10 minutes on this. I seem to have gotten better at positioning my controls. So let me just position them in a way that works for me. And the reason I'm doing this is it improves my flow when I start to build a scene, see the sources, look at the video, and make my adjustments in the audio mixer. And I have all my controls here: stream, record, virtual camera, which are the ones we'll be using as virtual camera. So that's a good start. So hopefully that helps you with your flow, but feel free to choose however you want it. If you're working with a single monitor, this is a great setup because you could move OBS completely to the right and only look at the left-hand side for scenes, so you could switch with your keyboard. All right, let's get started. So you've dropped that link, aka MS Teams Like a Boss, right? So it's a zip file. Download it. Hopefully it goes into your OneDrive, because that's the best place to keep information. It stores it in the cloud. It synchronizes it back to your computer. And if your computer blows up, you can just go to another one and get that file back again. So I have put, thanks. I've been using OneDrive, I think SkyDrive. Whoa, okay. But let's just get started by importing a scene. So let me talk about importing a scene. A scene collection is a collection of scenes that has sources to get you started. So in the future, I'm going to improve my way of using this, but I would recommend that you create multiple scene collections to easily jump between what is it that you're presenting. So today, I'm going to import a scene collection, the one that they have downloaded. So you click scene collection, you click on your scene importer, you got to focus on the more actions, and that pops up a display to look for files in your OneDrive. So I'm in my OneDrive documents. I've created a folder called OBS just to keep everything there. I've got a scenes, and I'm gonna now import the Teams Like a Boss JSON file. So the good news is it's a JSON file. If you're into programming, you're probably wondering how you could just write this. So just I'll leave the schema up to you to figure out. Yeah. But let's import this scene. Once you're at this part, you want to click import. Now, the first thing people say, hey, Denzil, I followed your instructions, but I only followed it so far. I didn't get too much into it. And I say, hey, you did it correctly, but what happens is you need to switch scenes now, because when you import, it does not open the scene collection for you. So how to open a scene collection would be to select that scenes collection that's in there. Is that good, Michelle? All right, so let's click on...
Yeah. We get a question from Paul KB Works. Does it work on Mac or is it Windows only?
It works on Mac. It's a JSON file. So I believe this should work on wherever OBS can be installed. I think 3 operating systems, right? Windows, Ubuntu, and Mac.
And the file is right here, by the way, aka.ms/teams like a boss.
If it doesn't work, I would be happy to investigate. My sister has a Mac. I'm sure we'll figure it out for you guys. But yeah. But that's it. So now that you see this, you will notice I've created a layout for you to get started and a schema of what you can do. And I'm slowly going to build more on this, but first let me just show you. So the simplest thing with the JSON you have imported, you need to update just 3 elements before it works. All right. So the first thing I wanted to show you is that there's a scene called Show Web Camera Only. So when you click into a scene, you start to see the sources that are right beside it. I'm going to double click my web camera. Now, when you're on a device that has multiple cameras, you can select multiple cameras. And so you could create multiple scenes for multiple cameras. But in this case, I'm going to select one camera. I'm going to drop this down. If you see Surface in your drop down, it's because I use a Microsoft Surface. It's a really lightweight device that allows you to be portable. The Surface Book 3 is actually a tablet, so it detaches off the thing. So that's pretty badass. I like that. That's why you see Surface. So don't be surprised. It's not your machine. When you drop it down, you should see a selection of devices. Now I'm noticing the drop-down selection not render in the live
we don't
stream.
see it. We don't see the menus, but that's fine, I think.
That's fine. I'm going to select a camera that I have active here. So I've just brought a camera in there. You could see it's using the device default settings for resolution. For folks who have 4K, 8K, 16K, I don't know, no K, go to custom and bring down your resolution to maybe 720 or 1080p for live streams or Teams meetings as well. Higher the resolution won't help because our software will not take your 4K and give you 4K. So I typically go 720, 1080, your preference. I'm going to select 720. Now that I've done that, I've clicked OK. This camera should be edge to edge. If you do not see it edge to edge, I'm going to show you a simple trick. You right click. Is that right click rendering? No. But a simple trick would be to right click the source and you will see it transform, and then you would click fit to screen. Shortcut Control F, right? Just like how you find information. So that's got to full screen. Now that you brought this in, I don't like to pollute a scene with so many objects. And the reason for that is for reuse. If you want to reuse your scene, you'll have to go to a whole nother scene and put the image in the exact same place where you had it before. Think about PowerPoint. How often do we duplicate slides? I do it a lot. To start the next slide, I just start with a duplicate. But Michelle, when you move that logo, the slide prior didn't move. So that's why I'm trying to avoid that. So just like PowerPoint has the master slide, I create scenes to be masters. So in this case, I've clicked on city, date, time. I'm going to invite you to update the logo to your own company logo. But you will notice in this scene, you don't see the Microsoft logo. And in your case, it's your company logo. So double click Microsoft, pops up the object properties. Where is the file? So I'm going to browse to the photo. The photo is included in the zip file. You could select Microsoft or select another image that represents your organization. And there we go. We see the logo. We click OK. So that's the first change you will do, is make sure you bring your company logo. The second change you'll do is you'll update your city. If you're not in the Great Six or Six Side or however you want to represent Toronto, you want to update this. You want to update, it was that NBA 2019 champs. All right. So you want to update Toronto to your own city. I would suggest city, province, or city, state, but it's really up to you. You could just say stuck at home, pandemic day 45, or however you want, right? That's all you do there. And that's giving you the concept of an overlay. Now, to introduce the concept of scene switching, there's another overlay that I'd like you to update. By now, when you've clicked into the name title, the Microsoft logo will still show because you just did that earlier. But I invite you to update your title, representing your own organization title or your own way of just announcing what you might do, but also take opportunity to change the name because you do not want to be Denzil Fernandez when you meet your customers, your clients.
I think some people will, by the way, but that's a whole other story. Yeah.
Perfect. Now for the money. So now that you've done this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch into the Meet Like a Boss scene. And what you will see is the camera, never mind the stall display. You'll see the camera, but you will also see the overlays. So you could see the Microsoft logo and you could see the date time. And in here, I've got two sources. And these two sources are the scenes you just configured earlier. So I call this nesting, just like we do in groups. We nest groups in groups. Why do this? If I start to create new scenes and drop the overlays, I know if I change the overlay, all my scenes are updated.
Yes.
So I don't have to go to different scenes. So that's why.
By the way, is that a 43-inch screen in portrait mode?
So that's a 34-inch ultra wide that just stood up. I'll tell you why about that at the end. Why this helps.
Yeah.
I'm totally anti-portrait, but I think I found the use for it. All right. So the next one is, okay, how do you kind of bring that title on and show your scene where you're introducing yourself? So ideally, you've got a stream deck, but if you don't, that's okay. You can use your keyboard and you can just go down, and then now you can see it shows my name and my title at the bottom, and then I switch back, it shows the date and time. So the idea is you create scenes or slides that show different elements, and then you switch it, and you switch it.
Yeah, so whenever you click a scene, it automatically switches the scene. You could change the transition if you want to, but that might be a little too advanced to begin with. But you can.
I'll take that to the next YouTube stream we do.
Yeah,
or something.
we'll do another one.
But now that you've seen that, I'm going to show you how to build on this, right? So let's just say you're now going to meet with the dealership, and you're really interested in buying that new Ford Mustang. What was it? Hybrid now. It's fully electric. So Michel's going to drop a link if you haven't already. You could start driving to your next meeting, or you could drive to your meeting. So we'll share a link. There's a public website. Ford has made all that available. So let me show you how to get started. I like to create dividers. There is no way in OBS to create sections. Like in PowerPoint, you can create sections. So what I like to do is I like to divide, and I just use the dashes. I count 10 because it reminds me how to count. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I will say, and I'll say driving demos, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So there's your divider. This is crazy. Every time I have to do a presentation, I'll create a divider, and that way my eyes quickly know where to find that. Yes. So now let's build that scene we were talking about, overlaying and stuff. So the first thing I do is, you don't have to follow my prefixes, but I like to prefix and put numbers. The reason is, do you ever notice when you browse for information in Windows, what comes up first, numbers or alphabets?
Numbers.
Thank you. So that's why I use numbers, because if I wrote a scene in just English, then it would be all over the place. So quickly selecting scenes is another thing to boost your productivity. So by prefixing a number, you quickly scroll to the number and then you find everything there. So I'm going to call this 33. I'm going to call it driving. Okay. And I'm just going to say, driving 1. So this is just the beginning of it. I'm going to come in here and add a source. The right click showing? No, it doesn't. So there's a plus sign at the bottom. You click that. Does that show? No, it doesn't. Okay, so when you click plus on that, you should see a bunch of sources. The sources that I'm asking you to look for and add would be called image. Did that pop up? That popped up. I'm going to call this image, let's call it the red car interior. All right, you can name it whatever you want. My keyboard's going crazy. Hold on, red car interior. All right, and now what you can do is you can browse to this file. For Windows users, if you love drag and drop, you could just drag and drop the image in the source. You don't have to add stuff the way we're doing it. I'm doing it the long way so you know how most people are adding sources. So I'm going to add the red car in. All right.
Quick question coming in from Martin saying, does it recognize dividers automatically when using 10 dashes, XXXXX, 10 dashes?
So the divider is a blank scene. Yeah. That's how I look at it. It's just a blank scene. I'm not going to put anything in there. It's purely aesthetics from this purpose. I remind us back of the chat rooms on Merc. how much ASCII did we put just to put a banner up? So
Yeah,
same concept here.
unfortunately, it doesn't sort. Would
No,
have been
it
nice.
doesn't sort. That's a very good one. It doesn't sort. So sorting is a little bit of a headache, but I work around that by moving my scenes at the bottom into these dividing sections to organize. So as you can see, we're just loading that image in. Great question. And again, it's so small, and this is the part where we can Control F, fit to screen, okay? Or we can right-click, transform, fit to screen. Michelle, do you see the green there? Do you see the
Yeah,
green in
and
the car?
it's
Yeah,
so chroma key is green.
yeah. So the trick for you guys who like what we do, you just have to go to Google and type any image name, green screen. And after that, what you'll find are images on the internet that have green backgrounds. Typically, they're just translucent or transparent, but white, green, magenta, and blue. So that's so that you can add effects in those spots, right? So I'm gonna right click this, not that you can see, we know that, but the filters will pop up now. I right click the source and I selected filters. In your filters, you will find one of your filters called chroma key. So you're gonna click on that and you're gonna click OK. I didn't do anything but click OK, and the green has now disappeared.
Yes, it didn't turn
All right.
gray. It disappeared.
Yes, it didn't turn gray, but it did disappear. Now notice you don't see my camera here. You don't see a moving background here. So let me add another source. So again, you can click add at the bottom, and now this time you're not going to select image, you're going to select media source. Media sources allow you to add MP4s, MOVs, MKVs, any media-based AVI-like files. So I'm going to call this moving car background, right? And I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to browse for that file, and there is the file that's I've just saved it for us there. I'm going to put it in here. When this comes up, what I want you to see is the loop. There's a loop button there. You want to click loop because loop is the only way for the video to keep repeating itself. If you don't select that, it looks like you're
I
going
also
into outer
before you,
space.
would you mind going back? Would you mind
Yes, sir.
clicking?
Yep.
I also closed the file when enacted. Just to save a
Yeah,
little bit of
save memory. If you don't have 64 gigabytes of RAM, start closing stuff when you switch scenes. Good tip. That's an awesome one.
And I think
got
we have to
32
show that on
gigs.
video as well. I think we have to show that on the
Yes.
webcam as well. We'll do it later.
Yes. Yes. Now, the first thing you'll notice is it's not behind the car. Remember last or 2 weeks ago, we talked about sources. So just like PowerPoint, objects appear over objects and can be moved over or underneath it. I'm going to drag the latest one and put it at the bottom. So essentially what's happening, objects at the bottom are at the lowest layer. Objects on top sit above it. Now, if I have to go back to the red car interior that we had, and I remove the green screen, you will see no moving background in there. But if I turn it on, you'll see the moving background in there. So hopefully that makes sense why we chroma keyed the image. It had a green screen effect, and we didn't buy anything. This is no hardware in here. This is simple OBS green screening. Now, a few things I do is try to position this in such a way that it looks realistic. So you can, change perspectives depending on the car you have, right? If you want to show a little bit more of the back view. So I've done that there. Now that I'm happy with my overlay, two things happen in my brain. Either I keep building on this, or I promote this and I call this the new overlay. So I'm going to just rename this, call this overlay. I'm going to say rear view red car. Okay, just as an example. And I'm going to move this to my overlay scenes. Now I'm going to build a brand new scene. And I'm going to call this, 33, the driving demo. You guessed it right. I'm going to add that scene that we just created back into this scene. And this is called scene nesting. So I gotta fix that. You saw that stock thing.
Yep.
You
Yep.
saw that stock thing appears there. So simple. Just go back to this one. Click on the moving car. I'm gonna drag the top bigger, so that way, hopefully, we don't see that there too much. There we go.
And
Back
again,
to the
that's the
drive.
advantage of nesting, right? So let's say you didn't
Yeah.
catch that one at first, and you've created 5 different scenes with
Yeah.
this image. You could just go back to the overlay,
And
change the overlay, and then
once. You got it. So now how do I bring a green screen object in here? Now, my graphics card is connected to that, not connected to that camera, so I won't be able to actually do the actual green screen, but I'll show you how I place the camera in there. Remember we created it was pre-created, the show web camera scene? So what we got to do is add another scene in here. It's called the show web camera. I'm going to click OK. So that's now a scene that's over that scene. That's why you can't see it. If I move it to the bottom, it disappears. If I move it to the top. And the idea here is you want to resize this in such a way. So a trick that I use is I hold down the Alt key, and that starts to trim the video, right? So that you can actually get the object to be bigger than it is, right? And so now that I've adjusted this, you can start to just resize this. Now, depending on how I would be sitting, I would be right there, right? And I would now turn on a physical green screen in my home, which is what Michelle does all the time. In my case,
and I can show real quick. So there are 3 options, right, to do the green screen. So if we move here and I go into, where's my scene? I think this is it. So here you have me sitting in front of the green screen without the background, and I'll turn off the chroma key real quick. So this is what I have, right? So you
yeah,
see me here sitting in front of a green screen. So having a real green screen here is one of the options. The other option, and that's what Denzel has, is use a functionality within your graphics card to show the green screen. That's something that some graphic cards have. There's also a
correct. XSplit.
software way to do this. So there's an application. It's called, what's it called? XSplit Camera.
XSplit VCam is another software that can actually do the exact same thing and remove this background, and it'll be right in the car. Exactly.
Kind of similar to what we're doing in with Teams, right? So with Teams, you don't need the green screen. There's actually some technology that's doing this. If you want to do this through OBS, you use XSplit VCam. I think it's like €4, $4, something like that. I think you need to purchase it, and there's also a free version you can go ahead and try, and that also gives you that same effect. So, real green screen from your GPU or using XSplit VCam.
Okay,
There you are.
I just put it on my Brio. I gotta get really close to it, but you can see that's XSplit software running right inside OBS. And now in my driving demo, if I get really close to the camera, you could see, again, this is not a hardware graphics, this is software.
Yeah, software.
XSplit. It just removes the background of any web camera that you have. So hopefully that helps you. Thanks for mentioning the XSplit.
Yep.
Okay.
Frank just put the link in there. Frank, I saw you playing with this earlier. xsplit.com/vcam.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So if you're asking how we did that, the camera source in OBS is not the camera. It's now XSplit VCam. And I have XSplit running as a software on its own. And in there, I selected the Logitech Brio for there. By the way, the Logitech Brio, great camera, great lighting,
Love
4K. Like I've got 4 of them. Like it's amazing. Like it's really good.
Yes,
Good. Okay,
we
so
got a question coming in. I'm sorry. Question coming in from Martin saying green screen through video card or OBS uses a lot of computer power. The green screen through the video card uses GPU, right? So that uses the video card. It's already built in there. Cam doesn't use a whole lot of CPU. I noticed. I was telling you.
You're correct. So I noticed if a GPU is removing you, you'll see that you're not using any CPU at all to do that. If it's a XSplit, you will notice both CPU demand and a little bit GPU demand as well.
Yes.
So that's where software comes in. And then what Michel does uses nothing. It doesn't use any power from your GPU. It doesn't use any computing power. It's literally the green screen chroma key effect, which is awesome.
And you can buy
Now,
this almost anywhere, right? And I got a big roll of paper attached to one of those poles that you see in some bathrooms. Right? The poles that you can kind of connect to two walls. And I use that to connect it to two walls, and then I have my green screen back here.
I'm going to try one more for, you let me know if we have time. I'm going to do one more, which is sharing your display. And in the future, I'll update the link for Teams Like a Boss. I'll give you a background and screen sharing. So you could create a scene that has your monitor and your video at once. So I'm just going to try it right now. So same idea. I'm creating a divider for displays. I'm going to add one of the displays I have at home. So I'm going to call this 00 Samson. All right. And in here, I'm going to add a source. The source is going to be called display capture. So I'm going to name the source Samson. And there you can see that's one of the many monitors I have. I'm going to select display 4. Oops, that's not display 4. That's display 3. All right, hold on. All right, so that's display 4. I've clicked OK. You now see the Samson screen being shared right through OBS, right? So again, so now that I've done this, how can you use chroma key in here? So very few people try this, but I'm going to show you something with chroma key. So I'm going to add a filter to this. I'm going to add an effect. And the effect is going to be chroma key. And I'm going to click OK. All right. Now, by default, chroma key is what color? Green.
Green.
However, you can change that to a custom color. So I'm just going into the settings for this. I think it's a bit off screen, but let me just bring it back here. Let's select custom color. I'm going to say pick a color. And I'm going to pick the color that's on the background there. And I'm going to click OK. So what you're noticing now is that the actual Samson monitor is visible and not. Okay, how this helps. I'm just going to keep that filter up, add another scene for the Brio camera. So show web camera. All right, so XSplit camera is in there while we see this at the same time.
Yeah.
If you, right, so I'm going to click close. And let me see if I can go back back to XSplit. Hey, you just appeared in your desktop, right? Like out of nowhere. So again, so simple. You're able to use that XSplit cam. You're able to use it over your own camera, and you can overlay yourself right through the concept of doing that.
And how this helps, right? If you let me take some stuff off of my second screen. How this helps. So let's say you're on a Teams call and we only have a few minutes, so we need to show how to connect this to Teams. So if you're on a Teams call, you can always use the share button, which is great, right? But if you use it as part of a flow, you might not want to interrupt your flow. You can simply just click a new screen, and I'm going to do it right now. And that then brings you to your second screen. Now I also have the picture-in-picture here. So again, I go to a different scene, and now let me move this out of the way. There we go. So now I'm on my second screen with myself as the overlay, and this is the scene. I'm just switching scenes, and I don't have to go into the shared tray in Teams.
That's right. That's right. So bringing this as a virtual camera into your Teams meetings is going to elevate you to the next level. But again, with the PowerPoint presentation view that's coming, it's very similar to this, and you could create those beautiful scenes in PowerPoint. I'm just showing you that in the future, that I believe personally with hybrid work, there will be people who will do demonstrations in person in a physical showroom, and there will be people like me who will evangelize working from home and try to make that same impact online.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's the big difference. So what you do is maybe you can show it. Start the virtual camera. This used to be done through an extra plugin. That's the cool thing about OBS, I think you can add a bunch of plugins. So we've been playing around with quite a few.
Yeah.
You
So
start your virtual camera. Go
I'm
ahead.
going to not be able to do it as I'm using it already, but the Start Virtual Camera is a button that appears in OBS Studio 26 and above version. So everyone should have it today. If you've been using OBS for 3 years, please update it. It's now a part of the system. You would click Start Virtual Camera, but that doesn't mean it's working in Teams. You still have to go to Microsoft Teams, select your device settings, and you would have to drop down, just like you select a mic, just like you select a speaker, you're gonna select a different video device. In your
Would you like me to
drop
show?
down list, yeah, go ahead.
See, so this is your pre-screen. You can do this from the settings, but there's some stuff in there that I can show you. So you go to setup and you select the camera input. Now I'm personally not using the virtual cam that in OBS for some reason. I'm having such a great quality. I use another NDI plugin, but the idea is the same. And then for camera, instead of using your camera, you go to the OBS virtual camera. You select that, and then you'll see it on your Teams speaker.
That's right. No, that's perfect. Let me see. Did we get? Yeah. So we got through the most of the basic stuff that helps them start building. So if you like what you're watching, I would love to hear what scenes would help you in your
Yes.
job. I think screen sharing would be nice, right? Like creating something for screen sharing so we could show folks something like we were doing earlier, like sharing my desk, sharing with your company badge, and that's the Samsung monitor you saw earlier. Maybe getting into a lounge, have a seat, picture in picture, just like woohoo, or come back, or to the bottom, to the left, to the right. However you want that effect, you could do that too. So it really depends on what it is.
That Law and Order.
That was, yeah, you remember that. What I like about this screen sharing, I'm using Zoom It, which is available on sysinternals. It's a great software that Hugo and David Warner showed me. They use it in teaching, education, and instructional. What it allows you to do is it allows you to draw on the screen. So, woo, again, not OBS. This is available today. Go download from sysinternals.
Zoom It.
Zoom it. And once you're done that, you can escape out of that, keyboard escape. You can also do something like this. So let's just say I'm going to open up Microsoft website, and I'm walking a customer through the software. I know it's not software here, but it's a website. It allows you to do a live zoom. So as I'm moving, notice this. This is kick-ass. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a great way to show people how to kind of like use software. Again, Zoom It, bring that into your feed. Another tool that would really help you step up that.
Yes. I think we're out of time. Again, awesome session. Please drop some suggestions in the comments if you like. More than happy to do another session in, let's say, 2 weeks. Let's check out some of the comments. Jeroen is saying, quote King Louis, Denzel, and Michel, I want to be like you.
You can be like us with a little bit of time and learning. You can be. We wouldn't both not like this a year ago, so we just learned something different to spice up our work.
Yeah, Jason shouting us out. Great job, guys. Says Michael. Kevin
Thank you,
saying
Michael.
super cool. Daniel, on Monday I will meet like a boss. David saying this is just legendary. Thanks for the inspiration. Thanks so much everybody for watching. Again, if you wanna rewatch this, go to the channel. You ready to do it, right? You go to the YouTube channel Michel Bauman MSFT, and you can rewatch the session. You gonna challenge me for another drive?
Yeah. All right. Hold on. I need to go faster. This is the GT500.
No, mine doesn't go that fast. This is the speed I'm getting, and the road is bumpy as well. You see?
You know what? I don't like all this carbon emission. This is what's better. This is. You know what? Adios. It's getting dirty.
Thanks. I appreciate it, bro.
All
That's
right.
awesome. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Awesome, guys. Peace out.